if you feel like shit for the entirety of the day because of a hangover, surely by the end of it you want to feel better. But this game, this game doesn't make me feel better. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Barcelona just beating, and I say just because barely, we beat Real Sociedad 1-0 for a penalty of Lionel Messi at the minute 81st minute. Barcelona got the lead. We're going to do this very simple. You know what? Let's start by the good things, and the very first good thing in a way would be the result. I'm not un resultadista is how you say it in Spanish, a person who kind of likes to value football because of what the actual number, actual scoreboard. I'm much more of a fan that kind of likes to analyze games and value them because of what we saw on the field. But you cannot disagree a little bit in saying that the 1-0 result is actually good in a way for Barcelona's aspirations in the kind of long term kind of look out of the season, because of course getting back from a defeat 2-0 El Clásico del Bernabéu against Real Madrid, against your fierce rivals, is always good. It's good that at least you get kind of into that race and we don't make that margin further and further away. We don't make that gap even bigger, and against the Real Sociedad that could have potentially happened, but thankfully it didn't. So that's a tiny good thing. I would say it's kind of like 20% something good. But then the rest of the good things that we saw in this game, I have to attribute it to only one man. Entirely one man. And that is Martin Braithwaite. Can you explain to me how Braithwaite today was the most exciting player on the field to watch? Of course, Messi is gonna be always 100%, but when you have someone else that also decides to play and actually turn up, Braithwaite was doing absolute bits in this game, let me tell you. The runs that Martin put in the very first half were absolutely incredible. They were not just good, they were stellar, they were amazing, magisterial runs from Braithwaite. Really, really good work from the Danish. Then we also had to see Braithwaite playing with zero pressure. The touches that he put were kind of in a way risky, but he was always trying to use his space and quick acceleration to his advantage. And that is something that we don't see players like Antoine Griezmann do that much, or Messi is not doing it as often as he used to. So having that breath of fresh air in the forward line, just trying to break through the lines as quickly as possible, it was really fun to see. I was enjoying myself watching this game. I really, really liked the very first half of Braithwaite. I gotta admit that I anticipated Ansu Fati to start this game, but seeing Braithwaite on the starting lineup makes me feel that he could potentially become our proper left winger per se, our left forward for the entirety of the rest of the season where La Liga is concerned. He was putting in a really good work, and I think the key here is that he of course came from absolutely nothing into Barcelona. Not trying to disrespect Leganés whatsoever, but of course coming to Barcelona with no pressure in that sense. We don't expect them to kind of light up the world on fire. He just can play way more freely and can just really do what he knows to his best of his abilities. And all of their players in kind of inside the team are also gonna know that. So they're not gonna put in kind of unnecessary passes to him, a lot of pressure onto him. He was just incredible because of that. But now moving on to the negatives of this game, there's a lot of things we can actually talk about. The very first of those is, my goodness, where's the control of Barcelona in the games? It's lacking, it's wearing. In the very first half, even though the chances for Real Sociedad and Barcelona were kind of very sporadic, the game was all over the pitch, you could always see that Real Sociedad were kind of like one step ahead of the game. They had the right amount of players in the right kind of positions to kind of block the attacks of Barcelona. That's a very good kind of tactic from there, I would say, from Emmanuel Alguacil. So good on him for that. And Barcelona couldn't really break through. We had to rely so much on the long passes going back to Ter Stegen. And I was saying how we needed that outlet in a game, for instance, against Real Madrid, where that wasn't the case and we couldn't get through. But Ter Stegen today, and there's another negative, he wasn't good in distribution whatsoever. I don't know what happened with Ter Stegen today, but he wasn't having his best night. Could it be perhaps because of the rumors that he wants to leave Barcelona and perhaps he wants to like work harder to kind of impress and say that's not true, or perhaps he actually does have his mind somewhere else? But I don't really want to get too much into it, but he, in my opinion, just had a really off night when it came to his distribution of the ball, and he hurt Barcelona. It literally, against Real Madrid, we couldn't get out, so we tried kind of just passing from the back, and that didn't work. And today in this game, we tried to kind of play it a little bit longer, and we couldn't because Ter Stegen wasn't playing as good. So it's just kind of all going bad for Barcelona at this stage. And it seems that the tactics that we employ are not directly what the game is kind of expecting us from us. So I guess in that one we can put a little bit of the spoiler into Quique Setién, but I still think that a lot of the players deserve that criticism. Another section of our team that really contributed to Barcelona losing control constantly is the midfield. The midfield was completely all over the place. Artur is so... You can just see the gap that this guy leaves on the field. He links up the play perfectly. And it's very unfortunate that he got this injury, because when the games are coming, and these games are important, then we got away Mallorca, and then Napoli at home, we need someone like Artur, because this midfield ain't working, guys. Ain't working. And why it ain't working? One big fat name right there. Ivan Rakitic. Oh my god, this guy. I want to respect him as much because I really do like him. Let me rephrase that. I really did like him as a player. I still have a respect for him. But my goodness, the man is kind of done. Let's be honest. He had one good thing, and that's one crucial shot that he did, or actually one link-up play also with Messi in the box. But that was later on in the game. Before that, before his substitution and before those shots, my goodness, Rakitic, he can no longer pressure as much as he used to before. He doesn't cover as well as he used to before. So we are left completely open with gaps in the left wing back position and also in the right back position, where before Rakitic was slotting there very nicely, and that's why he was so pivotal for Luis Enrique, for Valverde, for instance. But now those gaps are just, they're gaps. They're left there for then Rasic had to expose, and Martin Odegaard is gonna look at that and just distribute it like it was nobody's business. So Rakitic, my goodness, he can no longer play. Riqui Puig, why is he not starting? I mean, okay, it might be a little bit too much to ask for him to start right away, but at least get him into the pitch earlier, or get Arturo Vidal, because Setién, Rakitic is not the answer. He's not the answer anymore. And if Rakitic is gonna be benched, he has absolutely zero impact off the bench either. So Rakitic is done. He needs to be sold, leave the club, pay whatever kind of like thing you need to break the contract, and just let him free. Release him of this misery, and release us from this misery as well. And then one final thing that is a very big negative for Barcelona, and one very big negative, and one last very big negatives that I'm very sad to see, and one very big last negative, Antoine Griezmann. The problem with Griezmann is that most of the time he's been isolated because of his position, and he cannot contribute as much. Of course, we understand that, we already know that. But he doesn't even do kind of like that many things wrong for even us to notice him. He doesn't do good enough things for us to notice him. So he's just kind of like, we're playing with one less player. It's sadly like that, and it's very kind of reminiscent in a way of Coutinho. I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, and if you ask me, I still think there's a lot more chance in Griezmann for him to be kind of like a star at Barcelona. And it's gonna sound completely maybe wrong for a lot of you. It's gonna sound just completely insane. But what about if you kind of flip the roles, where instead of having Griezmann being that man to kind of pull out the defenders and kind of want him to then open up space for Messi, why don't you change it around? I know Messi play a lot of the time kind of like the false nine, but it was still Griezmann trying to constantly do a job that is not his. Change it around perhaps, and Messi simply by his aura, he's gonna drag those defenders and let Griezmann be more involved with the finishing of those chances. I feel that could be a little bit of a way Barcelona could get more out of Antoine Griezmann without kind of hurting as much Messi's play. It's just kind of like an advice. I'm saying we shouldn't follow it. But if this continues, I would say we should be inclined to continue starting Ansu Fati over Griezmann, and then just have Martin Braithwaite there as well. In reality, Griezmann at this stage, he comes up with a goals here and there, and yes, credit to him, goals that are important like away at Napoli. But today against Real Sociedad, his defensive contribution was there. That's amazing to see always. I like the attitude of players that are committed to track back and can help us, especially with pressuring teams like Real Sociedad and teams that are going to really break you down easily. So good job on Antoine Griezmann on that. I appreciate your help that a lot. But ultimately, you're kind of like a forward as well. And most of the time, the only dangerous player for that right-hand side flank was Semedo. And when you have your right back being the main outlet for that, you know something in reality, let's be honest, is wrong. So that's going to be everything for right now, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. For the time being, I'm going to be doing follow-up videos on two main topics that I really want to discuss. Braithwaite, more in depth. He is actually putting a great shift for Barça, and I think it could be very beneficial for us. And then try to answer the question whether actually Messi is off form or not. Because a lot of you, I read, don't know how to feel. So I'm just going to try to, you know, kind of like ease that kind of thought onto your mind. And then for the time being, if you want to see more content on the channel, we got videos up on transfer news about Lautaro Martinez, as well as analysis of whether Neymar could actually fix Barcelona in a way. Spoiler alert, the answer is actually kind of a winger would be the best option for Barcelona, but go there and check it out. And just like always, see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.